This week, we find the hero we need in these dark times. Keith pledges himself to the new milk or water diet, and we find a court judge who's obviously never played Halo. And while the Scotsman may be a shit bank robber, at least we can also say he's shit in the KKK. And isn't that a win?
I believe that every Tuesday is a Fat Tuesday. The robot lady, sound the alarm!
Warning. The following podcast is another wasted hour. Warning. The following podcast is another wasted hour.
Don't waste my motherfucking time!
There's not quite like anything where you say that you're going to lose weight for the New Year's and then you just eat it all back in one fell swoop. It's an accomplishment, I believe, but we'll talk more about that in a moment. The most important thing to know is that in the next hour, it's going to be replaced with two ignorant, uninformed, ill-advised, self-deprecating morons ranting about opinions that they have no right to have, which are probably wrong and absolutely do not matter. This week, however, there's only one because Adam is not with me. He blew up his computer. I don't know how he did that. I assume it was probably putting it in the microwave or some other thing that has what you shouldn't do with a computer. He probably boiled it or something. But so it's just me this week, along with our guests. But as always, our goal here at Another Wasted Hour is to convince you that where we hail from, just outside Washington, D.C., is not just a city of politics and scandals, but one brimming with art, music, and culture, and stories about other cities that you might want to be at more. That's beside the point. So listeners, now that you know why you're here, more importantly, in studio, we have... Wait, where the hell did they go? Oh, right. It's Travis and Molly of the Invisibles.
Hi.
Hello. I would assume our listeners can probably determine who is who by the voices.
I'm Molly.
Yeah, that's Molly.
Travis.
They sound identical.
We're twins.
So welcome. Thank you for joining us.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
Do you ever get confused with the Pixar movie?
Well, they were inspired by us. A lot of people think it was the other way around.
Yeah.
No, we actually came first, and we're suing them over the unlicensed adaptation. Yeah.
Well, that makes sense. I understand why that would be the case.
And we are inspired by another crew of invisible superheroes.
Yeah, the band name was decided by popular vote, but I nominated it after the psychedelic comic book by Grant Morrison in the 1990s called The Invisibles.
Oh, okay. I'm not familiar with that one.
It's sort of like
I was not either.
Yeah, it's like a missing link between Robert Anton Wilson's Illuminatus trilogy from the 60s and like the Matrix movies.
Are any of those X-Men? That's the only...
It's a bunch of... like people with psychic powers fighting
I'm in.
demons from outside time and stuff like that, and
doing
lots
Wait,
of
why don't we know about this? We need movies on that.
Yeah.
We should go to those movies. And
I would.
And who wrote it?
Grant Morrison. He's like a big name in comic books. And
that's great. We could have had movies from him. We have music from Jim Morrison.
Yeah.
And it would have all fit together. We just have all Morrisons.
Yeah.
No one else is invited.
Everyone has to be a Morrison.
I'm Molly Morrison, and this is my sister Travis Morrison.
Hello.
Who's the guy isn't there a Morrison from Saved by the Bell? I feel like there's...
I'm proud to not know the answer.
It might be Morris. Maybe it's a Morris, which would involve then a cat. Because there was Morris the cat.
Yes.
Maybe we'll allow Morrises and Morrisons.
And no one else.
It's a very niche movie that we've invented. So we were talking about what we might talk about during the show. Before I jump into that, the Invisibles, a band here in DC. You guys are playing Friday, January 31st at Public Bar Live in Washington, D.C., which I was saying I've never heard of this venue before. But it sounds like it's actually pretty cool.
Yeah, it's very cool. It used to be a sports bar. Still has a little bit of the sports bar feel, has some like TVs with sports as you do in a sports bar.
Yeah.
But they totally renovated it. So now there is a floating stage above the bar. So you can go up and get your drinks and then you look up at the stage and like, oh, wow, there's the singer. That's really cool. She's like looking down at me. It's very, and then there's a mezzanine level up above. So you can like look. So the stage kind of floats between the main level and the mezzanine above the bar.
Have you considered putting curtains up during your show? Because then you would be the Invisibles. People looking around like, where's that band?
I mean,
where's the band at? I hear a band, but I see no band.
Definitely not the first time we have tried to figure out a way to be invisible.
How to capitalize on this theme. Yeah.
Yes.
Right.
Or anytime, someone's late, it's like, oh yeah, they're just invisible. It's fine.
When I was in a band, we used to for rehearsals, we would have like once a month just a "I'm a dick" card, and you didn't actually have to have an excuse. You're just like, "I'm a dick. I'm sorry about that," and you're like, "Okay, that's your one for the month."
As long as we're
Fancy.
self-promoting,
Yeah.
we do pretty soon have gigs coming up in March and April as well, and one of them is going to be at the Pocket, which is another like brand new venue.
Wow.
It's Seven Drum City.
Oh, okay. I've heard. Yeah, they were opening up a venue. So
Mhm.
Seven Drum City, a great like kind of studio like learning center down in
Yeah.
DC.
Exactly. Lessons, but they've taken a big part at the heart of like sort of social networking for
Yeah, like
musicians.
it's like a community center
Yeah.
almost of music, and
Yeah.
so now they're opening up I think it's a fairly small venue.
It is, yeah,
right?
like 70%.
Which is
Yeah.
great. I think
Yeah,
that's
it's nice.
what's missing in the area.
Totally.
Pie Shop opened something about that
Yeah,
size.
yeah, and that's a great venue too.
And people have flocked to it. It's great when you have venues that are in the like 200 person, but then where do you start?
Right.
And that's the lifeblood to everything, because if
Totally.
you can't have a venue where like 3 bands can share a night and almost pack it by just bringing like 30 people apiece, right, then there's no place to start,
Mhm.
right? Because when you first have your band, even if you beg all of your friends and your family to come, it's 20 people, 30
Yeah.
people, right?
Lots of shows playing to other musicians.
Yeah.
Which is great and super fun, but yeah.
So these I think are just so important. So I'm glad that they're doing that. And that you'll be there. Do you know when it's opening? Is it already open?
Yeah, it opened earlier this year, end of last year.
Okay, cool.
So yeah, they've lined up some great bands, and it's a really fun place. We're excited to play there.
And so if people want to hear you play live, obviously they can Friday, January 31st, they can go to Public Bar Live in DC, one of these other shows as well. But they can also go up to bandcamp.com to listen to your recordings. So it's theinvisiblesdc.bandcamp.com. How many albums do you have up there? Would you?
Just one.
Just
So
the
that
one?
was kind of, they were each singly released as our sort of last product was, or ultimate product was our kind of debut album. But now we are working on our second like official album, not recorded in a basement studio. Not that there's anything wrong with that.
Right.
But so we're pretty excited about rolling that out this year.
Yeah, that's super fun and super expensive. And
Yeah.
but yeah, there's the one 6-track album that's up there. I have my own separate Bandcamp page with like, I don't know, probably about 8 or 10 collections of stuff, but this is the first Invisibles. And so, yeah, this will be the first studio produced, professionally mixed everything. So the recordings that you hear on the first EP, everything that's bad about them is all my fault.
I mean, it is difficult to produce and mix yourself. It just really is.
Yeah.
Right. That's a talent all of its own. Even if somebody else can come to you and you can make an amazing album of what they brought you, when you are the person that you are then kind of being critical of and trying to tweak just right, it's hard because you hear you, right?
Totally.
And so I think that's always really difficult to do, no matter the talent level, right? So kudos to you for being able to put that together. And then hopefully you said there's going to be how many new tracks this year?
So about 6.
Okay.
At the current show, we're gonna debut 3 or 4 new originals and a couple of new covers, and then we'll have a couple of more new originals coming out in the later shows next month. But yeah, I think we're shooting for about 6 or so new songs this year.
Excellent. So
album.
head up to the invisiblesdc.bandcamp.com. I'm sure they will all be available up there throughout the year. And check out other shows, not only Friday, January 31st at Public Bar Live, I should say, but also things coming up in March and April as well.
Yep.
Yeah, and we have we're if you search for Invisibles Band DC on Facebook, on Instagram, we're pretty easy to find there too, and everything points to everything else.
Excellent. So I was gonna figure out what our topic was for the day, and then I found out. So I just got back literally yesterday from New Orleans, and you're from New Orleans. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
Very cool. So we were there for like 4 days. We ate like 16 meals, I think. It
4
was pretty
days
great.
is about right, because that's about when you've eat or drunk yourself really into the ground and your body just wants sleep and water for weeks. And,
Right.
Yeah.
No, I as a fairly large man, I never thought in my life my body would be like, I could really use a salad right now. But that's how I'm feeling. Yeah, it's like, would you like some kale maybe?
Here's some lettuce.
Yeah.
It will nourish you.
Like, oh, are these vitamins? They feel so weird. There's,
But I like them.
I feel like New Orleans is like particularly special because there's an overwhelming number of foods that are like New Orleans centric that require you to dip bread into.
Yeah.
There's a lot of like dipping and like, you know, and soaking in bread. We did the barbecue shrimp at a place called Mr. B's, and it's surprising because it has very little to do with barbecue and very little to do with shrimp.
Yeah, it's not barbecue per se so much as sitting in an inch deep pool of butter.
Yeah, it's like
Yeah.
butter and Worcestershire sauce
Yeah.
and pepper, and
I
then
want
you
that.
just take bread and you dip it and you go, this is delicious. And they're like, are you gonna eat the shrimp there? I don't care. Just bring more sauce.
Yep.
And gumbo, you're wiping the bowl with that. We had something else. I can't even pronounce it, but it was another shrimp dish that was maybe even better than the barbecue shrimp.
Well,
was pretty
maybe was it like shrimp remoulade?
It wasn't ramelade.
okay.
We had that. That was really
Yep.
good too. This one had
Etouffee?
it had way too many consonants
Yeah.
in it, and I don't know how to pronounce
The
it.
chafalaya.
Maybe yes.
That's just the name of a parish. That's not actually. So, there's also speaking of like unique to the it's not Southern cuisine, it's New Orleans cuisine. So
Yeah.
oysters. I mean, Rockefeller actually originated in Antoine's, and my great great grandfather actually started that restaurant. My cousin still owns it. It's the oldest family-run restaurant in the United States.
That's so cool.
And the recipe for that is still a secret. They claim that, all the dozens of cookbooks around the world that have copied it don't get it exactly just right.
Nice.
It's another one of these like little unique to the town kind of things.
So do you have the recipe?
Yeah. Well, it was released from my family safety deposit box when I turned 8. No, I have no idea.
I was going to say, why haven't you made these for us?
I know, right?
I want them to come out eventually out with it, and they were like, everyone else missed the oyster part.
Yeah.
like all the toppings were right, but it never said oyster. We were assuming that. I went there years and years ago, like the first time I went to New Orleans, because it was so well known for. It made something else too, I think, right? Like baked Alaska or something. There's something else that like
They do have baked Alaska there.
there was
Yeah.
something
Bananas
it
Foster,
invented.
maybe? Yeah,
Maybe.
something.
Yep.
Yeah.
It invented something else.
Yeah.
Dessert of some sort. But yeah, there's so many. That's so cool that you're related. There's a lineage there. There's so much good food though.
Yeah. I had,
definitely.
I've only been there once, but I had alligator sausage. That was
yeah.
surprisingly delicious and way more adventurous than I'm usually comfortable with.
So an interesting little hidden gem that we found. So we've done things like we went to Drago's for like the char grill oysters, which is a place that invented those. Fantastic. Mr. B is really great for the barbecue shrimp. We found these little spots. We found some other places we weren't really happy with. Went to Mother's. They had real good like overall food. It felt like a really local place. The thing that was really surprising to us though, New Orleans School of Cooking.
Huh.
Yeah. It's a place you can go and they demo like how do you make gumbo and how do you make. We did gumbo and red beans and rice.
So you took classes there.
It was like a class, but
Oh,
it was
that's
like
so fun.
it was more. It wasn't involved. You can do ones where you actually are chopping things up and like participating. This one you're kind of watching as they put stuff together and they're talking about the history and these are ingredients and you get the recipes and stuff.
That's so cool.
And we thought, okay, this is going to be a really interesting thing to do, but it's a cooking school. Like, what can we really expect? And so they came out. You got obviously you get lunch. The things that they've made. They send them out to the audience, and you eat them. All of it was fantastic.
Wow.
The gumbo was on par with all the good gumbos we had. It was in the same class.
Nice.
Yeah, we were really surprised. In fact, we thought it was
cool.
better than like Mr. B's and some other
cool.
places that are actually pretty high-end places. So that was super weird to us, but it was great.
My favorite all-time gumbo is actually Jazz Fest gumbo.
Jazz Fest.
Yeah,
gumbo.
and I just Not
Is
to
that a
persever-
place or?
Yeah, not to well, the New Orleans Jazz Fest every
Oh,
spring.
okay. So
And that's when you really should go to New Orleans for one thing. But
Yeah.
not to perseverate about food for the entire episode, but you just have to
Yeah.
get the soft shell crab po' boy.
Yeah.
So it's fried soft shell crab on a sandwich, and what you do
Okay.
is you French dip that into your quail and pheasant gumbo,
Oh my god.
and then you just die, and you're fine.
You're fine. You're happy.
You're
Like,
happy.
You're done.
Yeah.
Yeah. That.
It's all downhill from there.
Right.
Life can never be better.
Yeah, you're like, well, I really blew this load a little early. I should have waited till I was 70, but
Yeah.
nothing to look forward to from now on. Speaking of things to look forward to, we're going to transition to the weather report. We're going to make you the editor-in-chief of your own publication. As your loyal reporter, I've scoured the internet for a bunch of news. And you're going to let me know whether or not you consider it news or whether or not it makes it into your publication. Are you ready? You
Yes.
feeling good? Any
Yeah.
questions?
Feeling so
We don't
ready.
have to form a consensus, do we? Can we disagree?
We will disagree on everything.
Yeah, then only half the story goes.
Okay. All right. Cool.
All right, first and foremost, Detroit man settles racial discrimination lawsuit, then bank won't cash his check. Yeah, that's
No.
no. Instead, they called the cops and initiated a fraud investigation. He presented 3 checks from Enterprise, apparently the company Enterprise, a little racist, and one for $59,000, one for $27,000, and one for $13,000. He asked for the first 2 to be deposited and wanted to cash the third one. They said, it's a very large check. The funds, we would have to wait and have the funds ready for you in 2 days. And he said, no problem. And then they called the police because they didn't believe that this man actually had real checks. So yeah, they claim that nothing discrimination. There was no discrimination. It was just the checks came back as fraudulent, and they tried to see if there was something with a lawsuit, and they couldn't confirm it, and et cetera, et cetera. But I think at the beginning it started like, does this guy really have that kind of money? You think? In his account at the time, he had 59 cents, and so I think they were like,
peculiar.
yeah. Are you sure? Where'd you get this? I love the irony of it. So, is it news?
No, I'm going to go with not. I believe that it happened.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't say that this is a thing that everyone needs to know.
No,
Or
All
a
right.
thing that
Molly?
necessarily, I would agree. I don't think it's necessarily a thing that would like surprise
Enough zing.
people, sadly enough.
Should people know about this? Should we? With the number of people who claim that these kinds of things don't happen?
That's true. I mean, that's a very good point. I'm curious about the like
Very
59 cents to like, here are all my check. Like that is a little like, what's going on here? So
Yeah.
I don't know. I feel like I want to know more about his story.
That's
I want to hear his side.
That's definitely, yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
well, he just came from court with checks and was like, I'm not going to hold on to these.
Here's some
So
money.
I'm trying to figure out the way he should have done it. Right? Like,
Yeah,
what's
that's true. Like bring one on 3 different days or something, and then just like stuff the money under his mattress.
like that's the thing I want to ask the bank is like, okay, let's say that this is not the way to do it, and that it had nothing to do with discrimination. You just, if ever this situation were to occur, you'd kind of raise an eyebrow.
Yeah.
Should I do it with the mobile app? Like, what's the next
What's
thing?
the protocol here?
Like, I'll give you a thumbprint. What do you need to be like, oh, wow, this person's come upon some money in a perfectly legitimate way?
What's the not sketchy version?
Yeah. I
Yeah.
don't know.
Yeah.
Because even if, think about it, let's take the checks out of it. What if he just came in with cash? That's
It's like,
worse,
please put
right?
this in my bank account.
I just big like cloth bags with dollar signs on them. And he's like, just put these in my bank account.
I always wonder, what is like $10,000 in cash look like? Because in movies they open up the suitcase and like, ooh, millions of dollars. But like, does $1 million actually look like that much money? I don't know. I
think
want to know.
It depends what the bills are. I would
Yeah,
think,
like
'cause-
here's the suitcase full of pennies.
right. Because if it's dollar bills, you're like, it's all in the truck. Right?
Yeah,
Like,
exactly.
That's the $1 million.
I just have no concept of like the volume of dollars that equal a certain amount.
This is how unrich we are.
Yeah, exactly.
We're so
I've literally never seen that much money.
we're so far from rich that when movies are like, that guy's rich, look at all the money he has, and they open a suitcase, we're like, yep, that seems like a lot of money.
Obviously.
That must be. It could have.
It's like $1,000,
right. It could,
in ones.
yeah, it could just be like that is $60. But that's what $60 looks like if you get it in ones. You're like,
Right.
wow. Woo! I've never.
Scrooge McDuck into a bathtub of that stuff.
Yeah. All right. So not in. You're holding your stance.
I'm sorry. I
All right.
Yeah,
hate to be
I'm gonna
Scrooge
go with
McDuck.
Travis.
No problem. That's fine. During the impeachment hearings, we found out that senators are forced to choose between only milk or water to drink. Yeah. Which feels like somebody really missed the mark in lobbying, right? Like there has to be a Pepsi lobbyist and a Coke lobbyist being like, what the hell?
Like, can't they just go to a vending machine and bring it in with them?
I guess
Is
not.
it the Senate rules? Where is that? Where is that written? I mean, like,
Yeah, I don't know. CNN is reporting this. And so rules allow for milk drinking on the Senate floor
How
or
wholesome.
water drinking. That's it.
this sounds like one of those rules they came up with in the 1800s
For
because
some
the
of-
third option was like pure morphine or something. Like
Have some laudanum with
Right.
the water.
they've just never updated the law since then. You're also allowed to bring your pig with you because who else would watch it?
Right. Right. You can either have water, you can have milk, or a handle of mead. That's all we could drink.
Goats and pigs are allowed, but sheep are not.
Yes.
I'm gonna say no because I'm just annoyed that CNN is reporting on that.
They're suffering though, Molly. These very affluent people in a job in which they just have to listen and vote can only drink water or milk for their sustenance
It's healthy for them.
while at work.
I almost
You
yeah,
need
it
to drink
almost
more
works
water.
as unintentional satire, right? It's almost an Onion headline.
Yeah.
About how they're suffering. I want to say it's news because anything that attracts attention to the farce that's going on in the Senate's probably a good thing. But on the other hand, it does seem pretty sideshowy for what we ought to be paying attention to, which is how the system is completely not working and our country is collapsing before
Which
our
is
eyes.
basically how the last 3 years has felt.
Yeah. Do you think they allowed coffee, but then they realized that it's all old people? And they were like, this is sketchy because they could all get palpitations and they're very easily excitable. We should probably lay off it. And they're like, no, we want our coffee. Last year you took our cocaine away and we won't stand for it.
Shh, here's a glass of warm milk. Go
And
to
they're,
sleep.
Oh, I do like milk. Thank you.
No.
So nice.
No chocolate in the Senate after 8 p.m.
Yes, they have to. They also have to wait a half hour after eating to go into the Senate floor, so there's no cramping. It's very important. So not news. Is that what I'm hearing?
No.
What do we? I came up with. Was that a
I
draw?
vote
What do
no. I vote no.
No. Okay.
I'll say no in solidarity with my brother. Yeah.
Your brother Molly. Your twin brother Molly. Man strangles rabid coyote to death with his bare hands after it attacks his son.
Oh hells yeah!
For the record, screw this guy for setting the bar too high. Because no one in the dating pool is going to live up to a meme saying, ladies, don't settle for a man who doesn't love you enough to strangle a rabid coyote to death with his bare hands for you.
But look, you can have this guy posing with a tiger in a cage instead.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's definitely news.
I just want to read you his quote. All right. This is what he quoted. I was able to get its head into the snow and get my hand around its snout so it could no longer bite me. And then from there, I was able to suffocate it by using my body weight and scissor lock it until it basically expired. I want to hire this guy as my personal trainer. Now, my New Year's resolution is now not losing weight and getting healthy. It's being able to scissor kick a coyote to expiring.
It's going to be the new fitness craze. And you got your Soul Cycle, you got your CrossFit, you
Right.
got your Solid Core, and then you've
Well,
got Coyote Killing.
Yes, scissor locking a coyote until it expires.
There's goat yoga where you let goats climb on you, but this is decidedly more hardcore than that. This is
Yeah,
coyote
that's
killing.
true. This is between that and goat rodeo, which is kind of like goat yoga, but a lot
Way
more
less-
challenging.
Yeah, not as gentle.
What is the learning curve on coyote killing as a recreational
Apparently you-
exercise? You
you
have
nail
to
it after
really-
once,
you have
apparently.
to-
Like, all right, black belt level.
Yeah.
Done.
This guy, there's no way he practiced this, right?
You don't know that.
Do you think he has like a stuffed coyote in his house that he's been like scissor locking
Must
for
be
years?
prepared.
Yeah. How did he even come up with this method?
Where is this guy living? Is this like Montana or something?
Oh, that's a
Someplace
good
where
question.
coyotes are rampant and rabid.
It's definitely in the U.S. I know that.
I mean,
New
it's good.
Hampshire.
Okay.
It
Hey,
is
New
in
Hampshire,
Florida.
Florida, yeah, Florida man.
Yeah, I wasn't guessing New Hampshire. I was thinking
Yeah.
Montana.
Yeah, right.
I feel like
out west.
I feel
open
like in
spaces.
Montana, every single person in Montana can kill something.
Totally.
But in New Hampshire feels like there's a lot of people who can only ski.
Yeah.
Like, that's-
yeah.
Yeah, so so that's in. You're saying
In.
news?
Yes.
Definitely
in.
news.
Totes.
I'm not sure I'm understanding the theme of this.
We have a system.
Yeah, there's obviously one. All right.
Don't question our methods.
I tried to get a headline that made sense for this one, and I couldn't pull it off. So I'm just gonna read you the article because I think everything in the article is important. Matthew Davies stormed into the Bank of Scotland branch armed with a meat cleaver last September, demanding money from a terrified staff behind the counter. He has now just gone to court for this. That's why it's in the news. The 47-year-old pulled the weapon from a pillowcase before he put the betting item over his head and instantly lost his bearings within the branch. The High Court in Glasgow was told Davies had to quickly remove it because he had not created eye holes. Davies still managed to get his hands on almost £2,000 after repeatedly battering the glass partition with the bank the bank's counter with the meat cleaver and then threatening to harm a female customer.
See, this guy would not survive Coyote Killing 101.
No, not at all.
Not make it to the second round
Yeah.
of the advanced techniques. He would,
He then sauntered off, but was spotted petting a dog.
like you do.
This is my favorite part. My favorite part out of all of this. I know you're thinking, no, there's no way it gets better. He was eventually caught after a brave customer from the bank followed him home and then called the police. So he escaped in a manner that a person who was in the bank just followed him home and was like, that guy. That's the guy.
He did it. The pillowcase is still on his head.
How do you know it was him? Because I've been here the whole time.
He's holding that big bag with the dollar signs on it.
Yeah.
It's humongous. It weighs 100 pounds. It's probably got $40 or $50 in there.
Yeah.
It's-
He went to another bank and was like, I need to deposit this. And they're like, you're Scottish. That's not weird at all. Come on in.
And calling the police.
Yeah, that's the Edinburgh news.
I'm just imagining this is like an episode of Mr. Bean or something where he's just like floundering around, like running into people, knocking things over. Like,
Yeah.
I just,
The thing that blows my mind is that nowhere, I read you pretty much the entire article. Nowhere in the article did it say while drunk. Like, so that leads me to believe that this guy had a plan and was pulling it off to a T. And had I'm so flabbergasted that this is a thing.
and then like the petting the dog, that's just like the perfect.
Right. He's like, aha! I got the puppy. Hey there.
Then he goes and picks a flower, buys an ice cream cone.
That's that'll be £5. I'm gonna go through my bag of cash.
Right.
Let's see. I got 100. Is that you've
I
changed?
keep the change.
Yeah. It's yours now.
Oh
yeah.
my gosh. Yeah, it's newsworthy.
Oh, yeah.
Totally.
Yeah, absolutely.
100%.
Between that and Coyote School, like what else do we need in our publication?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a bit of a flyer at this point, but it's a very entertaining
Yeah,
flyer. All right, so that one's in. All right, so we're running a little low on time. I think. Do I have one more? Oh no, I've got this one more. We're gonna do like a speed round here.
Yeah.
So we'll go through the last 4 I think that we have here. And you let me know if you have any questions. Great.
We have no questions.
All the answers.
This was one of my favorite of the entire week. Man killed by blade-wielding rooster during illegal cockfight.
Yes.
This is,
Hard yes.
yeah. I don't even think
That's
I
what
need
he
to
said.
go into details other than This should happen all of the time. And so that happened.
Although I'm really envisioning that not as like the blades like for cockfighting, but like he's literally holding machetes and like running at this guy. That's how I see it in my head.
It's a cyber rooster with machete arms.
My favorite, if I pull up my favorite part of this entire article was this. This particular gentleman, it says, was the only death reported during the events. However, a dozen other injuries were reported.
Oh God!
Like, damn, Rooster!
like, yeah, don't fuck with me, dudes.
He like won his fight and then was like, who else? Who wants some of this?
Yeah.
Come at me! Like, oh, we have given this thing too many steroids. We need to scale back on the steroids, everybody. We've hit the limit.
Well, every episode, there's a part where the rooster says, "You done let the rooster off the chain now."
Yeah, right.
It's sort of funny catchphrase that it says every time it goes into ass kicking mode.
Yeah.
And there's a big R on its chest, and
Rips off his shirt.
Right.
Pulls out the machetes.
This is basically just like one like nuclear waste dump away from being a Ninja Turtle.
Yeah.
Like that's
It's gonna be the spin-off of Ninja Turtles.
Yeah.
They team up with Rock and Rooster.
Rock and Rooster. All right, so that one's in. A snooker finals match, the snooker finals match was disrupted by a whoopee cushion, which to me is just the image of this is great. As the guy like leans down and he's like, and it's like, and then you just hear like poop in the background, like, what is that? Squirrel. And like,
I think the whoopee cushion's gravy. I think that just the fact that snooker is still a thing is newsworthy to me. So yeah.
yeah, no, it said that the guy, this person, Stuart Bingham, apparently has once again won the Masters.
Stuart.
I was gonna put that in the headline, but then I thought nobody cares.
Yeah.
There's a Masters for snooker.
I don't even know what snooker is.
Snooker's like pool without pockets.
Oh.
Yeah.
That's
like
weird.
billiards.
Wait, so
Yeah. Imagine the thing that you do when playing pool and take that away.
sounds
do all the-
really
You're drinking?
not fun.
Do all the parts that you have to do to get that last thing to happen. That's the whole game. Hit things off of the side of the table and then hit the balls in a certain order.
No, vote no on that one.
Wait. We've lost the part that was important. Whoopee cushion.
I'm all for the whoopee cushion. I'm not for
I just love the idea. It's, the like geometry of it all and just very serious and then just fart.
whoopee cushions are delightful.
Yeah. All right. So that one's not in. Another great one. An Ontario teen calls the police because his fake ID didn't arrive. Oh, poor sweet teen.
Poor dear child.
This was not going to be a long career in criminal activities, I feel.
Yeah.
He was basically like a decade away from robbing a bank with a pillowcase that has no holes in it.
Right. It has the same
That kid's son.
Darwin Awards appeal as the other stories, but I don't feel like it has the oomph. I vote no.
No.
Yeah, I
all right.
agree.
Yeah, okay.
Kid's just dumb.
All right, last but not least. Your civil rights were not violated when you were muted out of a video game, a U.S. court tells an angry player.
When you were what?
So somebody was banned from a game. They were muted from that game. And then they took it to court.
Oh my God.
Because they were they were apparently being discriminated against. The actual court case said it like they're being discriminated versus all of the players that were not muted. Which is a weird discrimination.
I'm guessing that they were muted for a reason.
Right?
And also this country is way too litigious anyway, so I'm voting no.
Yeah, I'm guessing
Screw that guy.
in that judgment, the judge was probably like, first, it's not against your civil rights. Second, you did not sleep with my mom. So that's
So
factually
why are you
incorrect.
making these claims?
Yeah.
Stop tweeting at the judge during proceedings. I have to admit, I'm intrigued by this one just because my legal brain is actually thinking through the like the implication. So yeah, no, obviously it seems like the right decision because you don't have a right to be in that forum, much less to have completely unrestricted free speech. But there's an interesting argument there about were they consistently implementing their code of conduct across users? And that's the actual basis of the argument.
So what I've gathered is this particular gentleman, the thing that I think stuck out was it says that he has filed 10 lawsuits in the U.S. Eastern District Court in the last year and a half.
Oh my God.
Okay.
One of which involved feeling that he was scammed by Tinder.
So he's got an active life.
The rest of us,
He's just a victim, guys.
the rest of us call that online dating, but he called that being scammed. That you look nothing like your picture. Yeah, well,
Welcome to the real world.
in his brain, it's just this wonderful, pristine place where just everybody's nice and nobody is on lying on Tinder. And people actually are fucking each other's moms.
Yeah.
On various video games, I assume.
What a great world.
They're like, he's like, no, it's called making love. You're like, what? Band.
And her name is Susan.
Susan, you say her name correctly. All right, so that's it. So that was good. I would wonder, out of all of those people that did make it into the publication, how many of them do you think could have actually made it against the coyote?
Against the coyote or against the coyote killer, because no one can make it against him.
Yeah, right. No, I'm just saying the coyote.
Yeah.
I feel like it's just the rooster.
Yeah.
That's the
Rooster
only-
versus coyote for sure. The only one who has a chance.
Everyone else.
Which is so weird because that's the name of my next big 15-minute prog rock concept song epic, which is Coyote versus Rooster, the Revenge. Yeah.
We need the
That's
invisible.
good. Yes.
We need an invisible song next year.
Yeah.
Called Rooster versus
That's what
Coyote.
you wish for.
Right. No.
Yeah.
I see the wheels turning. It's
Right.
gonna
I've
happen.
written weirder just to ask my brother Molly here.
All right, excellent. Good job on that. So let's talk about music for a little bit. You've got some music that's out right now. We don't have it on the show here today, but if you were to go up to the
Discrimination. I'm suing.
go up to the invisiblesdc.bandcamp.com. You can listen to how many songs do you have up there right now?
Seven, I think. 7 or 8.
I want to say it's actually 6.
Oh, because
6.
Carbon Cloud isn't on there yet.
No,
That's
it's on
why.
there. No.
Oh,
So it might be 7. Okay.
All right. Well,
Let's say
to
that
get
we
our facts
have 6.37 songs on there.
And you're gonna try and double that this next year.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we've got another EP that'll be posted gradually over the course of the next year. We went into a proper recording studio for this
I have
one
a
instead of.
coda.
Oh, that's very
with Ben.
exciting.
Yeah, so that was great.
So what would you say the name of the studio was?
Ivacoda.
Ivacoda. All right. And how long did it take to lay down the first tracks?
We're so far from done. I by the end of that day, it was a 10-hour day, and by the end of it, I said I no longer want to be in a band or do music ever again. But yeah, so we spent the whole day, and we ended up with drums and possibly usable bass and guitar scratch tracks for 4 songs, and then vocals, hopefully, to cover most of those 4 songs. So like a lot of the basics are getting laid down. When I self-produce stuff and I have unlimited amount of time, I tend to stack up overdubs like crazy. So this is going to be a artistic purity versus budget kind of collision that's going to happen here.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's amazing how long it can take to go in and kind of properly record things,
Right.
Or at least the way we've been told to properly record things. You think songs like 4 minutes, right? We've got 10 hours.
Yeah, hour per song will be fine.
Yeah.
No.
How long could it possibly take?
No, you hit the record button and you turn into an imbecile that can't play your instrument.
Right,
It's just
immediately.
amazing, especially when you're paying someone to push that record button for you.
Well, and also, unlike the rest of your life, you have that click track in your ear being like, man, you are not good.
Yeah.
You are so off on everything.
Yeah.
Did you know how bad you are?
Yeah.
And you're like, I feel like I was good until this came on.
Yeah.
And now this is terrible.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's remarkable. You can't even come in right. Right? You're like, and this is where we have a break for 1 beat, and you're like, break. Oh God, I missed it. How did I miss it? It's 1 beat.
And your bandmate's literally across the room, counting you in,
Yeah.
and you still are like, "Wow, what are you pointing at me.
Yeah. You
Oh, that
go,
was my entrance. Damn it.
you just go full stupid. There's nothing you can do about it.
Yep.
It's the pillowcase over the head with no eye holes. You're like, let's do some vocals.
I can't see my guitar. Who put this pillowcase? Ah!
You're like, all right, ready? Here we go. Count it off. We're going to start the vocals. You're like, 1, 2, 3, 1. Oh, puppy. We're gonna put the puppy. Oh, you missed it again.
But there's a dog here.
Yeah.
What do you expect from me?
No, it's remarkable
Yeah.
how long it'll take. What would you say are the things that have influenced this new EP? Like, what is the Invisibles style wise?
So we have had so many debates over this over the past 3 years. I, as a communications person, have been like, we need to articulate who we are and what is our sound. But our sound is really all over the place, which we really like.
Yeah.
We call ourselves eclectic rock.
Okay.
Yeah, my old neighbor was really into some corporate I don't know. He kept going on about branding, and it was the most depressing. I just wanted to kill myself thing that I've. We you know the tagline is eclectic progressive indie rock, and that's pretty true most of the time.
Sure.
There's a lot of stuff that and I mean the word indie has really drifted over the last decade, but like kind of spirit of the 90s kind of guitar driven indie rock kind of stuff. But a lot of my soul lives in prog rock, so like Zappa, Pink Floyd, Hendrix, King Crimson. And so what the band has been is me trying to make compromises between me and the anticipated audience of like what's going to have appeal and what's going to be listenable, and so you do come up with stuff that like, okay, it's still a 4.5 minute nugget, but in there's like enough catchy hooks that when you sneak in the flat 5 sharp 9 chord and the little bar of 7/9 that 7/9's not really
Travis
meter,
writes very difficult.
But so the idea is to squeeze clever and complex and tricky into catchy and accessible, I would say, is sort of the mission statement.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah.
So there's the trick is to make things that are complicated palatable.
Yeah.
Totally.
And so when you asked, where's the next one headed? I'd say we're now like really leaning into actually embracing the eclecticism of it. Part of that's just a way of coping with the turnover in band members, and it's like if really the stability of the band is just Molly and me, and I'm the one who's kind of carried all of the songwriting and composition stuff all this time. That's like, okay, fuck it. I'm just going to actually make this the vehicle for the stuff that I want to get out there. So we have pretty much a straight jazz tune on this. And then we have right after that, like a hardcore punk song. And then we have, there's one that will be just a total pain in the ass to get everybody playing it tightly enough. But it's basically like 80s Metallica kind of surf guitar, and then at the bridge it has full, like if Tenacious D and Jack White got together and made doom metal.
It's wonderful.
Has the only lyrics that I've composed a lot of silly lyrics, and Marley's the best sport ever, but this song has the lyrics that are just too silly beyond the pale. So we're headed in a bunch of different directions, and I think probably Zappa is one of my inspirations for that, because you'd hear like a classical song and then a jazz song and a rock song, and all back to back in his shows. And he would also have the compositions that sort of wove them all together.
So if people go up Friday, January 31st to Public Bar Live, you'll be playing a bunch of the songs that are already up there on Bandcamp, right? But you've got 4 new songs also coming out.
Yeah.
So right now, if I were to go up to the invisiblesdc.bandcamp.com, what would be like, where would be the spearhead for the Invisibles? Like, what's the beachhead for somebody to like get into your music?
I'm going to say My Favorite Monster. I love a lot of our songs. I love all of our songs, but that one is just, it's so theatrical and silly and fun. And it's like this punk rock, like, Misfits, like
it started off as a Misfits tribute, but there's some goth and metal elements in it, but there's a lot of like musical theater.
I get to sing like a legit
Phantom
of the Opera, like opera aria, which is awesome. My backing vocalist Christine and I, we get really silly, like dancing with each other.
Yeah.
It's like very like, I have a very like 60s fringe dress beehive vibe, but we're singing about a monster
Nice.
who's like killing all the men that she lures into her spider web and like drains their blood and leaves them for dead. And it's really fun.
Based on true experience.
Right. That's what we call Tinder. I
Yes,
believe
exactly.
yeah. Awesome. All right. So Friday, January 31st, Public Bar Live. Go check that out. Go up My Monster. Is that what it was?
My favorite
My
monster.
favorite monster up at the invisiblesdc.bandcamp.com. Go check those out. Let's move on. We're running a little late on time, and I want to make sure that we get through some of these. Well, we've obviously, first and foremost, have to see if, please God, you can get just one right. This is our little game show. We've got 6 questions. Our questions were brought to us by Red Medicine. Michael's playing up Thursday, January 30th at Jam and Java in Vienna, Virginia. They've got a little series they call Eskimo Bands. You can go up to facebook.com/redmedicinrx to find out more about that. Or since it's before January 30th, you could go to that show, and if you hate this category, just yell at him.
Throw Rotten Tomatoes at them.
Exactly. So are you ready for your category? You just,
So ready.
just have to get one right.
Okay.
Dolphins.
Ooh.
You're feeling good?
Yeah, I love dolphins. I don't know that much about them, but I like them.
I love dolphins. What's a dolphin?
Favorite animal.
You're a dolphinologist. Don't let them know.
I know everything about dolphins.
All right. So let's get started. Let's see if we can plow through these. The oldest known images of dolphins date to around 312 BC. Where are these images located? The first images of dolphins. Where were those found?
I'm going to say somewhere like in the Pacific Ocean. I'm thinking like Moana, like Polynesian islands.
You said 300 BC or something?
Yeah, 312 BC.
Huh. I guess there could have been people there
Although, I
by
mean, there's
then.
like dolphins in the Potomac River, so
Yeah.
maybe it was here.
I don't know. I would go. Well, yeah. Let's just go with that. Let's go with
say
that.
Fiji.
Fiji. Good
Yeah.
good guess. I would probably have gone that direction. Oddly enough, Petra Jordan.
Oh,
Yeah.
See,
Petra. hmm
darn.
when you think old, thinking like.
Yeah, I guess I don't know of a lot of like
But who?
hieroglyphics in Fiji.
I guess I wasn't thinking Middle East just because like I would know that there would be dolphins there. Like that's my.
Right? That seems crazy because
Yeah.
it's just deserts now. But yeah, who
Yeah.
knows? Dolphins have lots of sharp teeth, which
True.
they use for catching fish before swallowing them.
False.
rather
I'll play
than
the game.
swallowing them whole rather than chewing. About how many teeth does a dolphin have?
Ooh.
Can I answer a different question that I know the answer to?
You can. I don't know that it would be correct though.
So, because they're mammals, like mammals?
Yeah.
They're mammals. That's all I wanted to say. Okay, let's move on.
Nailed it.
How many teeth do you think they have?
I think they have 75
Why
75.
would they have an odd number of teeth?
because they're freaking dolphins. They can do whatever they want.
That's so cruel. I'm going to say 412.
412, 75.
Yes.
Kind of in the middle.
Uh-oh.
Neither of you right. About 100.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
About 100
right.
teeth.
All
Yeah.
right.
So that's a good amount of teeth, definitely.
Yeah.
All right. So let's see if we end up going on any of
Yeah.
the ones you know.
I'm going to not say it in case you're about to add.
All right. Since for dolphins, breathing is a voluntary activity, they must practice unihemispheric sleep, meaning what?
Ooh, they like shut down half of their brain and let that side rest, and then they let the other side, and then they like alternate. I think it's like sleeping with one eye open, something like that. I don't know. You're the
Wow.
doctor.
So I was going to go with, I thought it was that they would sleep only halfway submerged in water to make sure that they could continue to. However, yours actually might
I
make
think
more
I've
sense.
read that where they
Yeah.
only rest like one half of their brain at a time. so that the other
let's go
one-
with Molly's
yeah.
answer.
So they're
Okay.
going to do the Metallica sleep with one eye.
Yeah,
open.
Yeah,
Exactly.
exactly. Huh? Yeah.
With their 100 teeth.
You're absolutely right. That is it.
Ooh, yay!
Yeah, only half of their brain sleeps at a time.
Yeah.
That's so,
So they
weird.
always have one eye open and then the other eye closed, sleeping.
Man, that sounds really stressful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
To have to like remember to breathe on top of everything else you have to do.
Yeah.
Like, gotta clean my 100 teeth.
Yeah.
Gotta breathe. Gotta go get some fish for the kids.
So an interesting fact, although they are mammals, dolphins, for instance, when they get caught in fishing nets and things like that, rarely ever drown.
Huh.
Mhm.
Right. Because they voluntarily breathe. they actually just suffocate. They like don't breathe.
That's sad.
They don't breathe in water. They just don't breathe because they're underwater and they're like, well, I'm not going to breathe in water. That's ridiculous.
Yeah.
And then they die.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh.
So very few dolphins, sometimes they'll panic and like, lose track of what they're doing and drown because of that. But more often than not, you'll find a dolphin that has drifted to the bottom of the ocean, blowhole completely closed, and it died from asphyxiation.
Oh.
Yeah, which is really interesting because you think
Right.
like they would drown.
Yeah.
I thought this was going to be a comedy podcast.
Yeah, no, that's the funny part. It gets darker from there.
Oh no.
Everything dies.
What is the confusing nickname for the world's largest dolphin?
Little Jim.
Tiny.
No, the killer whale.
Oh.
An orca is actually the largest dolphin in the world.
Wow. That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, so
They kind of
not a
look like
whale.
big black and white dolphins.
Yeah. Now you like them even more, don't you?
I do.
All right. Of the 43 species of dolphins, only 38 are considered marine dolphins. In what category are the other 5?
Ariel.
Aerial dolphins.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
That's it. Molly, you going with aerial?
I was going to say amphibious.
Right.
Amphibious dolphins. It's just even better. That means there's a chance they could knock on your door. That's fantastic. No, neither of those things.
Darn.
You actually mentioned it earlier. River dolphins.
Oh.
They are not marine.
Oh.
They're aquatic, but marine is having to do with the ocean. So
yes,
river
yes.
dolphins. Yeah.
Aw.
The lesser known river dolphins.
Yeah.
Oh.
While many dolphin species are endangered, where does the most scarce species of dolphin live?
Most scarce species of dolphin.
I will give you a hint that the prior question is a bit of a hint.
Mars.
Mars, yeah, because they're aerial.
So let's go with the Amazon.
The Amazon.
Ooh.
Are you good with that?
Yeah, I like that.
Good guess. Good. Actually, the Yankees.
Okay.
Yeah. So yeah, definitely a river
Yeah,
dolphin. So great news. You got one right.
Yeah.
Yeah, you win.
Yes, I carried the team.
It didn't take much. There was a low bar. You met it.
Yes.
So congratulations.
Low bars.
Yeah, that's the great thing. It's the way you stay happy in life is just moderate your expectations.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, I have to get this out of me. So
Yeah.
they because they're mammals, so they can't drink seawater any more than we can. They get all of their water from fish they eat.
Oh,
100%.
yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, that is interesting.
Right? That shouldn't be mind blowing, but it is.
It
Yeah.
is.
I believe they're also the only mammal where their breathing and their eating are completely separate. So they only breathe through their blowhole. That's it.
You mean they have different holes?
Yeah. And then they only eat through their mouth.
Yeah.
And that's it.
Keep talking like that.
But like
Shut up.
slower.
Wow.
Yeah.
What beautiful creatures.
I know.
I love them.
I don't
now
know.
I know more about them.
I have no idea which one they use to make out with.
Yeah.
That's it's a
just hitting
mystery.
their blowholes together.
Yeah, just rub them together. They're like, that's so awesome. Your breath is terrible.
Yeah, exactly.
That's a good thing, though, right? Their breath would never smell like fish,
True.
right? Because they eat through the mouth.
Yeah, and then they
blowhole.
just like cuddle their heads together, and
Yeah.
like little otters.
Yeah.
They like nuzzle their heads together. Oh,
Yeah.
sea
This is great.
creatures. The ocean.
All right, so you need to think of the next category. What category do you want our next guest to have to guess about? I'm gonna grab you a gift. We have a
Ooh.
prize.
Aw.
Yeah, from my
prizes?
prize sack. So I'm gonna grab that. You think about category.
Pegging.
Those
Oh, I was gonna say ballet.
are so on the spectrum.
Can it be both? Is that a
Don't
category?
know if you can get 6
I
questions.
didn't wrap any of them, so somebody has
Oh.
to close their eyes and reach
Okay,
their hand
Molly,
into
you
my
go
sack,
for it.
All
You-
right, all
And then
right.
you just pull something out.
Okay, let's see
Oh
here.
yeah, just like that. That's great. Oh, good.
What's
That's
this?
fantastic. What'd you get?
Cube mints.
All
Extra
right.
strong. Ding.
Well, our dolphin friends won't need those.
Yeah, they
Awesome.
really they freshen up your blowhole.
It's like
Cube mints, they freshen up your blowhole. Warning, not for dolphin use.
All right, so we have pegging and we have ballerinas.
Please, let's not combine them.
That's going to be a really weird Venn diagram. What?
It's really fine to go with ballerinas.
Ballet, ballerinas.
Ballet.
Okay, ballet.
Yes.
That's a large enough category that I think we can get a lot. Of. Pegging, I feel like
It's too well understood.
It might, it might be hard to get 6 questions about it. There's why. That's a good one, but it's a little open ended.
Yeah.
In a manner of speaking. All right. So ballet. So if you want to hear, try and guess along with 6 questions about ballet, listen next week, and then I will tell our guest next week to come to your show at Public Bar Live on Friday, January 31st. That's in DC. Yeah. And then they can yell at you at your show.
Perfect. And I'll just pirouette at them as a former ballet dancer.
Look at that. See, perfect. All right, so let's move on to a little segment we like to call Near and Far. This is where we're going to learn a little bit more about what it's like to be one of the Invisibles.
That's what it's all about.
We've got a little bit. We've got a couple minutes, 3 minutes, let's say. Let's go with our Far story. That seems like there's some time there. The Drunk Marine is what you called it.
So, tragically, Molly got sick at the last minute before this gig we had at the Ugly Mug on Barracks Row.
Okay, we've heard of the Ugly Mug.
And it's literally, it's Barracks Row because it's literally across the street from the Marine Corps barracks.
Right,
and,
absolutely.
And so we just persevered and we did a show without her, and
against my recommendation.
Yeah. And and so I did
you did the aria part.
Exactly. No, I might have put on my I'll get you my pretty voice for that. I'm not sure, but we so it was for one thing, it was a Nirvana showcase, and we'd never practiced a Nirvana song ever, and so we got on stage and we actually opened with Something in the Way, which we had not only never gigged before, but we had never played it as a band.
Yeah.
And we just ripped through that, and it actually was really very good. I mean, it's a 2-chord song, so how bad can you screw it up? But it was great.
Right.
And it was a really good crowd because it's Barracks Row on, a Friday night, and there's a bunch of drunk Marines in there. And we were just going after the Nirvana song. We were just going through our regular set, and the Marines just never stopped shouting out requests. And
we are not a cover band,
right?
So
we are not prepared for those situations.
No, so they kept shouting out like Red Hot Chili Peppers, and they really wanted to hear it. And I felt so bad because it's not like we haven't ever talked about covering Chili Peppers, but we didn't have any in the set list. And so then we just started riffing and joking, and I just started taunting the audience. I'm like, well, the next song is the entire Blood Sugar Sex Magic album played from beginning to end, and so on.
Right.
And or this is a song I wrote called Under the Bridge, and but the Marine, there was one in particular that stood out because he was literally on the stage, and he was just wasted, and he had his arm around our bass player Edwin, and he was kind of he was really kind of getting pretty
friendly,
pretty handsy,
okay,
with Edwin.
Excellent.
And we were joking a lot about if Edwin had found a groupie or if he's going to take the Marine home and things like that. And so we
That's
ended
called
up
Grindr.
We've only had a few gigs where I thought like violence might break out or something, but I was like not sure 100% that the drunk Marines weren't going to.
It seemed loving, but then
cross the line from
love and hate very close
to really genuinely crazily pissed off that we weren't actually going to cover any Chili Peppers songs. And
but you kept poking the bear. That was the problem.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right?
Which would not have happened if I were there.
So we took it further than Molly, and I think it was it was it was a reach. There was. I was like, well, fuck it. Our singer's not here. Everybody's going to put up with me. So I'm just cracking jokes about it the whole night.
Sure,
and So we do this sort of slow, sexy salsa version of When the Doves Cry of Purple Rain.
Nice.
And because I was doing my picture we will, picture, you and I engaged in a kiss. And in midway, I just start breaking through. You're a mean one, Mr. Grinch. You're as cuddly as an eel. And so, we took it further than we ever would have gotten away with if our singer hadn't been tragically sick at the last minute. So
and I must say, I was only slightly appalled when I heard that. I was like, you guys did what? Also, I'm really sad I missed it.
You're like, well, unfortunately, that is all of the time we have. Wow, the timing, amazing.
Perfect.
So if you want to see some of the greatest covers of all time, go check them out. Friday, January 31st.
We are a Red Hot Chili Peppers tribute band.
Yes, at Public Bar Live in Washington, D.C. Yell for Red Hot Chili Peppers. See how that turns out. They're going to be playing 4 new songs. Also, go up to the invisiblesdc.bandcamp.com. Go check them out and check out their music. Thanks for joining us. Did you have a good time?
Absolutely.
Woo!
Thanks.
Excellent.
Good time.
Also, don't forget, as we always say, please like our posts, follow us, retweet us, and share the show on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. We cannot do this without you. Also, don't forget to review us on Facebook, Apple Podcasts, and Google Play. If you're an artist, musician, or culture creator in the DC area, we want you on our show. Email us at booking@anotherwastedhour.com. Thanks to everyone for all their contributions. But most of all, thanks to our guests, the Invisibles, and you, our fans, for wasting a perfectly good hour with us. This has been another wasted hour, and if you just realized that, don't blame us. We warned you.